What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got some news about the Curse of Osiris. I want to talk about new strike content coming in this DLC. We've got a look at a new exotic weapon, as well as some info about other gear coming in the game, including the new Vanguard arsenal of weapons. There are some milestone updates and introductions, and also a heads up for a new patch dropping in the game later today, as well as a few other things, so let's get into it. Yesterday, of course, in Bungie's stream, we got a look at Mercury, we learned about raid lairs. On top of this, we had some cool story stuff. Particularly interesting is a new feature which allows us to forge new expansion themed gear through gameplay, which is tracked by this symbol on the wall of the social space. We don't know too much about this other than it will involve post-campaign quests, and they added that collecting materials and elements would allow you to begin the process of forging these new weapons, which sounds fantastic, but Bungie, please don't have this be a milestone system that says go and get X from here, now go back to the lighthouse and forge your reward. This is an opportunity to add some level of investment for these pieces of gear. The idea is fantastic, and I just hope that it's a crafting-esque system and not simply, you know, a basic reward system. Moving on though, we can see that there is an adventure marked in the milestone tab, which doesn't normally happen, so hopefully these won't just be regular adventures that now appear in this tab as well. There could possibly be heroic or featured adventures which reward specific loot. It would be nice, but I would definitely temper expectations on that one. Also interesting though is that in the director we see the Eververse icon with a new milestone added there, so this could be a new thing as part of Season 2 which grants you some of the Eververse rewards somehow. Hopefully it will be, you know, a gameplay based thing. If you want to hear some of my thoughts briefly about this stuff, I will talk about it at the end of the video. I also want to give a shout out to my friends over at Zyro TV for letting me use some of their gameplay they captured at the DLC event. I will leave the link to their channel in the description box below. I really appreciate the footage. But next we have some info about strikes, new Vanguard, and a new exotic weapon coming from PC Gamer, who had hands-on with this DLC. First they talk about the story. So they say in terms of campaign length, they saw 8 missions. 2 of them are substantial enough that they're actually being added to the strike pool. They say that they sense some fans may find the duplication of story missions as strikes disappointing, so I asked the project lead Sam Jones about it, and he said if you remember back to the director map from Destiny 1, we had strikes that featured as part of the destination as a discrete standalone activity, and it complemented the overall story for a given destination, and we're doing things akin to that. It's not exactly the same, but it's a natural evolution. So essentially in this expansion we will play through strikes as part of the actual story, and of course they said there will be 2 of these, so that probably means 2 new strikes in the expansion. But Sam Jones from Bungie added, we also feel like our strike activities are some of our most expensive and well-produced content. Not everyone gets to play that much, and we want to put these strikes front and center. So I mean, I'm happy enough with that if they are, you know, fully fleshed out strikes. It's an interesting statement that not everyone gets to play strikes that much. I find that kind of bizarre. Of course, we've had a ton of conversation about strike-specific loot and heroic strikes modifiers. Of course, heroic strikes are returning, but it's not clear at this point whether we'll also see modifiers with them. I really hope we will. But next, PC Gamer talk about some weapons. So they say from the Vanguard they received a new 450 RPM auto rifle with the perk Kill Clip, and we've actually seen this thing in the B-roll for the Wormshaven PvP map. It's an Omolon auto rifle, essentially in the exact same class as Uriel's Gift, so it's going to be fairly similar, this time coming with Kill Clip though, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Of course we don't know of any sandbox changes that may also come with this and may also affect weapons like this, but it's also worth noting in the gameplay that we spot a new Vanguard sword, so it is clear that they will be updating the Vanguard weapons available in the loot pool. PC Gamer also managed to snag a new exotic during their playthrough, a viced grenade launcher called the Colony, and this is a weapon that we actually saw inside of the teaser for the first Curse of Osiris stream. They say it uses insectoid robot grenades which scurry around looking for a target if you miss your initial shot. The reload animation even has a frame of hesitation in it, which is either because the clip is magnetic or your Guardian is unsure about handling living grenades. Either way, it looks sweet, and the description for it includes the line, "We've made some messed up things in the past." So that will be the first viced exotic weapon. Of course, it is a grenade launcher. Typically, they haven't been the most exciting weapons, but it sounds like it has the potential to be interesting. Insectoid robot grenades. It almost looks like they have kind of a poison effect. You can see this green mist that follows the grenade projectiles. Moving on, IGN gave their impressions of the game, and they talk about the story and everything like that, but they also touch touch on PvP and the sandbox, then they say that when asked about the Crucible and the community outcry for adjustments, or the recent stories about decline in the player base, Bungie simply said the claim doesn't corroborate with what we see data-wise. So essentially Bungie say that from their data at least, it's not as big of an issue as other people are making out, but Destin from IGN followed up by saying the DLC left him more worried that Destiny 2 is going to continue to struggle while he watches friends, favourite streamers and co-workers play less and less as the sandbox is left desperately needing adjustments. So I think on that front it certainly adds to the concern that Curse of Osiris doesn't necessarily address the issues in the game. That's something I wanted to talk about briefly in a couple of moments. A couple of random things that I wanted to point out would be that we see returning Precursor and Ascendant Vex, so just like the ones that we saw in the two timelines in the Vault of Glass. We also see a new type of Harpy, but in terms of more unusual enemies, we'll have to see down the line. Another random fact about this DLC, Odin Fair is actually playing Osiris, and he's the actor that of course featured in the Mummy movie, so I'm sure plenty of you guys will know who that is. But people have asked for my thoughts on this DLC. On the whole, from what we've seen so far, I think, you know, new content in the game is cool, and it doesn't necessarily look like there are any huge problems with what they're actually bringing in. I guess really the conversation is about what they aren't bringing in. We have a lot of concerns about endgame and the kind of systems in the game, and on the most part it doesn't look like those are necessarily being addressed, although one thing to point out is that what we've seen so far is a preview of the DLC content, and we haven't actually heard from the live team who are handling, you know, some of the more systematic stuff, things like the sandbox and the stuff that'll be added in Season 2. We haven't actually had any of that stuff really heavily revealed to us just yet. Obviously, I'm hopeful that the right kind of changes will be made. I've said previously that we can't expect all of the changes to arrive in the game at once. Yes, there is stuff that should have been in the game and is not in the game right now. From what I'm hearing reviewers say, it sounds like the Curse of Osiris was kind of thrown into full force production after Destiny 2 actually launched. Obviously, they would have had many assets. They probably had a lot of story stuff, the characters and, you know, the locations fleshed out. But in terms of the systems, the weapons, the gear, everything like that, it all sounds like it's been happening since D2 launched, which obviously doesn't give them a lot of time to really address the issues. Like I said, I think the question is going to be how can the live team adjust some of that other important stuff while the main team, you know, work on this expansion. With this being a process of slowly delivering information about this DLC, really it's best for us to wait and see over the next couple of streams exactly what happens. But do I understand people's frustrations about what we've seen so far? Absolutely I do. I think that, you know, a lot of other games have been capable of delivering valuable content updates and changes, and Destiny just seems to continuously struggle with any kind of systematic change. It takes an incredibly long time, and if it isn't something which they get right, then absolutely it's going to be a big issue moving forward. Otherwise though, in terms of what is new in this expansion, I think it looks pretty cool personally, but everyone's entitled to an opinion, so I want to hear yours in the comment section. A final quick note, later today Destiny 2 will be getting Hotfix 1.07 and 1.07.1 on the PC, and this will come with scheduled downtime, so some more downtime for the servers, and that's starting at 8 AM Pacific and expected to end at 12 PM Pacific, which is when the patch will drop. We don't have any patch notes just yet. We'll have to wait and see what the patch notes tell us. Anyway guys, if you have enjoyed the video, a like is appreciated below. Definitely let me know your thoughts on this stuff in the comments section. If you're new to the channel and you want to see more Destiny 2 content, be sure to hit subscribe and I'll keep you up to date. For now though, I hope you guys have an awesome day.